Welcome to the 2A Roundtable. My name is Josh.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Derek.
And I'm Todd, the gun guru.
He's got to plug himself.
And Bucky's up there too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Bucky's.
Sponsored by Bucky's.
I wish I was.
Oh, well, yeah. Anyways. And we talked to you about Connecticut 2A issues, some national issues, honestly, whatever we want to talk about. So today we're going to talk about all the Connecticut gun bills, the public testimony, and just kind of go through our list of things. Hopefully this is being properly recorded now with proper audio, unlike the first one. We do have the backup running over here, so everything you guys should be seeing should be good now. Sorry about that first video, guys.
Oh, no worries. I was actually considering just dubbing over it and just making weird stuff up.
You could have like translated it into a different language, you know.
Could have done something.
I want to see him do Mandarin.
There's AI
YouTube does it automatically.
Does.
Yeah.
They translate all your videos to other languages for around the world.
Would it make it look like you're talking Mandarin?
Yes.
Oh, man, that would be fun to watch.
I don't have the editing skills for that. All right. So HB 5043. The Glock ban. Cruciform trigger ban.
Cruciform trigger ban. Yeah.
It's an act prohibiting the manufacture and sale of convertible pistols.
Well, and they put in the media, it's not a ban. It's a prohibition on sales.
Future sales.
It's a nice twist.
Right?
We're not saying you can't have it. We're just like, you can't get any more.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're a cop.
So
or military.
Wednesday, I was up at the Capitol all day. I got there about 8:15, even though testimony did not start until 10, because on top of gun day, we had adult vaccine mandates and we had homeschooling. And I was like, if you've ever been there, you know that parking is not fun. It's one floor of a parking garage. It's open to the public. I got there, like I said, 8:15. There was maybe 30 spots left.
I've ended up like 5 blocks away, which is not a good neighborhood. Parking my car there and then walking.
Park Street's like right around the corner there, right?
But then you got to walk. And I wasn't in a parking lot. I was on the side street because the parking lots were all full. And I have no gun. I have nothing to defend myself. And I've got to walk all these blocks. And I'm there until wee hours of the night. That's not a fun time. No. That's not fun at all.
Basically hung out. And then they finally opened the doors at like 9:50. They would not let us in there until 9:50 when one of the chairs from Judiciary finally showed up. Ooh. Rep Howard was there a few times. And he's like, why aren't the doors open? And then he went and found a cop and then came back and the doors still weren't open. And then they finally opened the doors at 9:50.
And it's supposed to start at 10. So by the time everybody gets situated and stuff, you're at like 10:15 before you even start.
Yeah, I think it started maybe like 10:05. But there were no reps there, right? There's no. Like, I think Staffstrom was there. And that was it. And then Fishbein trickles in and Dubitsky and everyone else.
Well, look at the testimonies. There's nobody sitting in those seats. Yeah. It's not the opposition.
So Todd's channel went through the 8+ hours of testimony and condensed most of it down to 3 hours.
Yeah. So I reached out to CTN because they're the ones that broadcast it. And I have a connection there. And I was like, hey, can I get a download link for this so I can scrub it, edit it with the agreement that I link back to like their channel for the full video. So no problem. They sent me the link.
That's awesome.
It took me 2 days to get through it because I started watching it and I had to walk away.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, the first hour and 20 minutes was everyone for every town for gun violence.
Yeah.
You have no idea. I mean, look, these were the notes with timestamps that I had to take, trying to figure out who I want to cover, who I want to showcase. And when it came down to editing, I really didn't want 3 hours because I got HB 7042 at 35 minutes and I got poignant, clips and everything. But this one, I felt it was very important to let everybody see the entirety of every town, not only people that oppose it, but also the ones that supported it.
Yep.
Because those were the entertaining ones.
The ones where Dubitsky and Fishbein and Howard will say go
bitch
after.
Slapped them. They bitch slapped them hard. Then if you notice, it's like when the opposition gave their testimony, it was facts, stats, all these things. And then you get the people that supported it and they were like, oh, well, I feel like this. I want to feel safe. And I'm like thinking to myself, I don't care how you feel, bro. The world's not safe. But that regardless, I want to hear why you think this is and they're
They
clueless.
don't have it.
They don't have any idea.
They weren't told that information.
They got talking points.
Yes, they're told here, this is what you talk about. And feelings in the legislature right now run how a bill comes out. They do everything on feels. Well, it's end of story. They don't care about facts
One of the biggest things, and I brought it up to you, is they said the quiet part out loud.
Yes.
When they asked every town, who wrote this? And they're like, oh, we did. And they're like, and where did you send it? And they're like, well, we sent it to the governor. And the governor's the one that presented it to the General Assembly. And I'm like, I knew stuff like this happened, but I'm like, we elect politicians to go represent us to the General Assembly. They're supposed to write the law, vote on the law for the good of the people, and then law gets enforced. No. Now they said it out loud. Special interest groups write laws.
Yes.
Politicians are clueless. As long as it fits the agenda, it gets ramrodded through.
And there is no enforcement because there's no way to enforce half of what they send out. So then they're like, well, that's not my problem. That's the lower, that goes down to the law. So, the law officers, the LEOs. So let them figure out how to enforce it. We're not actually going to make it.
So on Todd's point there, when every town said that in the beginning, that first hour and 20 minutes, I texted Matt Strasser, Vice President of CCDL, who was on the podcast a couple episodes ago. And I was like, did they just say, I literally texted him, did they just say the quiet part out loud? They just said that they wrote this bill. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, just the audacity of it.
Yeah.
Like the big cojones for them to say that. And then when Fishbein is trying to make suggestions to correct it, well, yeah, we'd be okay with that. You shouldn't have any power. It's the reps and the senators who are on this committee that are supposed to have this power, not the special interest.
When they asked a certain question or make those changes, and every time's like, oh, we wouldn't object to that. I was like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
But it's
you have no power.
What the fuck?
It has been this way for years since Sandy Hook.
But now they're just out there saying
because they can. Yeah. They are so power drunk right now with being able to ram through everything, what constitutional or not, because constitutional, that's an old document. That doesn't matter anymore. Again, it comes back to feels. And if we can push apart, push on this and push on the legislators, how important this is and how it makes us feel, they just go, oh, okay.
But what doesn't help is the politicians there that are hearing all this testimony are clueless to everything that's going on and stuff that's already gone on. Because was it you that brought up the 41,000 non-processed AW certs?
I didn't give that number, but I did. I said 90%.
And they were just like, wait, what?
Yeah, Dubitsky
you passed this law, bro, and they're not.
There's no fiscal line to make sure that
they're not doing it.
Which was not.
They vote on it, sign off on it, and then just push it aside. You deal with it.
That was kind of what I brought up in my and I didn't intentionally bring it up either because I had my written statement. So on HB 5043 and then the slide, what was that bill number? HB,
I've got it right here. 36.
5436. So I did two separate written testimonies for that. And then I kind of combined them into one verbal statement, which is kind of what they asked for there. They don't want you to read your testimony.
They don't want the verbatim.
And so I had some time after that, though, where the little ding didn't go off. So I brought up a couple testifiers before me was this kid who kept saying 1,200 rounds per minute or 1,200 rounds per minute out of an automatic Glock. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, first of all, the gun would probably melt. Second of all, that number just doesn't make sense to my head. And I'm like, third of all, where the hell is our 1,200 round magazine?
Right.
Right. The cyclic rate is 1,200 rounds.
Yeah. The mathematical rate is that a belt fed, and I said this, the M249 Bravo, 640 rounds.
Right.
In a minute. The barrel's toast, gone, melted, exploded.
Like I told you, the M61A1 Vulcan Phalanx.
Yeah.
Cannon. That's the gun that goes in most fighter jets.
Yep.
It shoots up to 1,000 rounds a minute for air to air. It only holds max right around 600 some odd rounds, but we reduced by 100, so 575 at most. You've got a few seconds worth of ammo.
Right.
And your gun's empty.
Right.
and you've destroyed the gun if you let it rip for that whole amount. The barrels are just,
they're toast. Yeah.
So going back to the statement, Dubitsky asked questions, and I sidetracked, but it was pertinent sidetracking about HB 6667, where we mentioned it in the last podcast. I think it was 41,000. I just said 90% of online submissions for the assault weapon certificates haven't been processed. And whether he actually knew, was surprised and acted surprised, or didn't know and was actually surprised.
He's surprised because they don't know what's actually going on down at the lower levels once they pass. Yeah. So, and it's funny because like the last time when we talked to you and you brought up that commissioner's letter. So I talked to one of my contacts up at SLFU and I went, here, have you seen this letter? And they went, no. I'm here. This is what is being told to our legislators that you're doing and that you know, where you're at in the process. And he looks at it and goes, no, nowhere near. And we're not working on them every day because we don't have the fiscal abilities to work on it every day. And I'm like, so do you understand? I said, I know you can't do anything about it. There's nothing you can do on your end. I said, but do you understand why, number one, you get angry phone calls in your department from people calling up going, I'm being told this is all done. And why, you know, there's a disconnect between what your department's truly doing and what it's not able to do. And he's like, yep.
I think we need someone from SLFU. We need to like have them here, black them out and distort their voice. So it's an anonymous thing.
Like I told you the other day, I talk a lot of shit about SLFU. I don't have a problem with the people just trying to do their job and doing what they're told to do. I have a problem with the entity itself and the way it's ran.
That's the police commissioner.
That's my biggest problem.
It's yes, and their hands are tied.
Higgins.
We jump through hoops to comply.
Yes.
Because we want to be dutiful, law-abiding citizens.
Yep.
And they drag their feet.
Yeah.
And if something were to go wrong, who's that fall on?
You.
It falls on us, the citizen.
Yes, always.
Not them. If SLFU loses a DPS 3, that's on you as the gun owner.
They call you and they say, we need you to supply this to us. Yeah. I've had it done.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, but don't you have a copy of that? Well, we need to verify. Okay, you lost it.
Well,
it makes life a lot easier now that we electronically submit.
Right,
but not all the time though.
I called.
Well, yeah, there's bad gun stores out there.
I called them when it came time to register my assault weapons because one of them was already in the system. Yet the one I bought when we did paper DPS 3 wasn't.
It's in a box downstairs.
So I called and I was like, hey, why is this not in here? Like, I bought this a couple of years ago. They're like, oh, we got a 5-year backlog. I'm like, if the ATF showed up to an FFL today.
And I said I had a 5-year backlog, my license would literally be burned.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be up to date right then and there.
Yeah.
It was better prior to COVID because of the mass amounts of gun sales that happened. They got very backlogged to the point where literally, and I'm not joking, they put it downstairs. They have boxes and boxes of DP3s that are in, and they're in a cage.
They're in about 2021.
They've gotten up to 2021 because
I get mail occasionally, like, oh, this number's wrong, whatever, and then I have to go back and find it. And then
but again, those are overtime. They're not allowed to work on that during business hours.
Yeah, then you got to look at it. God forbid you do something dealing with self-defense. You use that particular firearm. It's not in their system. So when they run that serial number, it's creating a bigger headache. And they're going to plant it on you as it's your fault, not their fault, because they do no wrong. And it's the bureaucracy. It's the whole system. It's just overly broken. Yet, remember, Connecticut does not have a gun registry.
No.
We have universal background checks.
We absolutely, if you talk to SLFU, they call it the registry. We absolutely have one. But when we talk about it in a legal sense, everybody goes,
Well, when you looked and you had to go in and plug in your AW certificate BS, it was called the registry. And it specifically said, if you own a gun that's not in here, feel free to register it.
Correct.
And I
said, you have to do a decision.
I thought we didn't have a registry. And they're like, no. That's just a universal background check system. I was like, then why do you call it the registry?
No,
and it was dead silence. And I was like, that's telling.
No, it's absolutely a registry all day long.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing, but the ATF also has one. They just hide the columns, but when they need something, they unhide the columns.
Well, when they come and do an audit, they take our bound books.
Yes.
So, like, they have all of, and whether they're supposed to or not, that IOI who comes in does I don't know what with it, but they have a whole PDF from beginning of time to that day of all of my A&Ds and where guns have gone.
But they've already got that in a registry from your 4473 and the background checks.
Yeah, but my 73s don't go anywhere.
Yeah, they're in-house only for 25 years.
So, like, the system I use is on a closed server.
Correct.
It's at least advertised that way.
Because
I don't know what they do on the
when
back
they
end.
close down FFLs too, and then you send them the 4473s,
Right.
they upload everything.
And they digitize them.
Digitize the whole thing.
And then they said, well, we pay Adobe extra, so we don't have a search function. Which I was like, okay,
it's been proven wrong.
Yet, when Trump got shot in the ear, within a half hour, they knew where the gun belonged, where it came from, and its entire life history.
And they found out from ATF. And I'm like, because when I saw that, I'm like, why is he?
Well, there is a trace. There is a trace system here, guys. Like,
yes.
So Todd's gun gets stolen, right? And
that's
not
bad.
the one that was in your truck.
Yeah, that you didn't lock up.
Have the gun safe with a middle finger and some.
So Todd's gun, serial number 123, and they know because Todd reported it because he's not a criminal. You know, it was a Canic MC9 LS. So they go to Canic. They go to Century Arms because they'd be the importer.
Yep.
Let's say they go to they said they sold it to RSR. RSR then says they sold it to Lock and Load.
Right.
And then that's where I get contacted. And did I sell it to another FFL or did I sell it to a person? If I sold it to another FFL, I give them that info and they keep going down the line until they get to the person. If I sold it to a person, then I need to provide them. Normally, you can either do it one of two ways, depends how the phone call comes in or the email. You can give them an electronic copy of the 4473. I tend to not do that. I tend to call back and then read it to them over the phone.
That's what I did.
So they wouldn't let us. They made us do electronic copies.
Who?
The ATF.
Over there? And I just call.
Well, the oldest trace I've ever done is 1972.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me.
It was painful.
You got to go through every seller and across the board. So,
right.
And when you still had private sales of, like, say, a long gun. So then they're going, okay, so you sold it and there's no paperwork way back when. So you sold it to so-and-so and then you got to trace it. And it's a pain in the ass.
The problem was the particular rifle that was used for that incident, the FFL where it came from was closed.
Yep.
So there was no tracing.
Nope.
The way we know it.
Well, there is.
There was nobody to call. There was Google the serial number in our system and see what pops. And they're like, there it is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's amazing how all of that stuff is truly there and people think it's not. And I mean, in some states you can still do a person to person with no paperwork. There isn't that paper trail, obviously. Okay. Unless you sell it and then put it on the books again. But there's a lot of guns, old guns that people have inherited and kept up until the point where you could no longer do that, like Connecticut doesn't. But a lot of other states still, you can pass it down to generations without any paperwork. And those guns are just good luck, because trying to find those or find out who had them, when, where, and how, it's going to trace back to somebody who had it in the 1940s.
Little hood boogers in Waterbury not running around with the blunderbuss. It was a family heirloom.
No, they're not running around with anything that's on the books. They're looking at the one that was stolen. But, don't prosecute them. Take my guns and my rights away, because then it'll make it harder for them.
Don't chase.
It's not a ban on guns, Michelle. It's just a prohibition of future sales.
That's right.
For now. And then you have talking about that whole thing and, the assault weapon registry and stuff, which I knew, but I guess I had forgotten because I just put it out of my head. Anybody who, and I think a lot of people are going to put it out of their mind and not think about it. Anyone who registered a handgun as an assault weapon, so any of the pre-ban handguns, I did not realize, again, because I blanked on it, that you cannot carry a pistol once it's registered as an assault weapon. So you can't carry any gun because you don't carry long guns loaded anyway in Connecticut. But if it's an assault weapon, you cannot carry it. So let's go one step forward. This is it was pointed out to me.
Yeah, but then that, it's going to bring back question as to what are they going to do with all the Glocks
and
other guns that they throw into this thing?
You can do anything
that are in circulation,
but then it's going to be a safe queen.
Yeah.
So on that, SIG P320 came in the other day. They were doing a person-to-person transfer. By the other day, I mean a month and a half ago. It took a long time to get there. So it comes in. We take it in off person A, right? Yep. Gives us the approval to do that.
Yeah.
Right, through the automated system.
There's no background check there.
We go to sell it, quote unquote, right? Billy Bob, who's buying it off of George. And it says cannot complete, and because it was an assault weapon. It's a P320 with a Wilson combat grip and a 10-round mag. So not an assault weapon.
Did they try to register it?
So the previous guy, not Bob, and not George who owned it here, I don't know, Henry.
Hey.
Before he sold it to Bob, sent in his registration.
And it never got canceled.
Well,
number one, it can't be. If it's a 320, there's no way that could have been an assault weapon because
if it was older, it could have been. But I don't know. When were 320s made?
It has to be before 1994, and there were no 320s.
Okay. But the state approved it. So then I called SLFU, and they're like, you have to email the vault. So I emailed the vault. 4 weeks later, finally get an email back saying they canceled the assault weapon certificate, and then we're able to transfer it. Less than 4 weeks. It was just under a month.
Next time.
It wasn't really a me problem though. Like it was, but it wasn't, right? I was just facilitating a person-to-person transfer because we can't do those anymore.
My guess is
regular people.
So here's the question though. Was that assault cert actually completed, or was it still sitting in that stack that never got completed? And that's why, or was it a problem child that they put aside? Because problem children, they're putting aside. So it was when they went, oh no, you absolutely can't be registering this. They put it aside because
it was in the system.
Right. But no, they all are. If they did it electronically, they're all in the system, even if they're not approved.
Why does it allow me to take it in? Because there's a separate form to take in an assault weapon.
Yeah.
Because we've done it for estates where you have to have additional paperwork. It's a total mess on both sides.
I've taken guns in and had them, when I go to sell them, they pop stolen. It's because
I've had that happen once.
Because it's not a background check. You're the buyer. When they give it to you, you're the buyer.
Yeah, but they should still be running the serial number to make sure it's not stolen.
They don't.
They do though, because I've had intakes and it disappears.
Certain ones pop.
And then you have to call because the serial number pops because it's only 5 digits or something. And that happens all the time.
Those are older ones, and that there's a reason for that. But like a P320 would not pop until it goes to go out.
I just want to know who looked at their P320 and said assault weapon. Seriously. Who looks at that and be like, yeah, that needs to be registered? I'm like, come on.
Like,
I thought about put a threaded barrel on it.
Well, I thought about doing it to a couple of my pre-bands because I collect SIG pre-bands, because then I could put threaded barrels on them and stuff like that. I decided against it because at the end of the day, I hope not to stay in Connecticut for that long and it won't really matter. So why put more shit on the books in Connecticut? That was my thought process on that. But a lot of people did this because they thought they could do all this tactical stuff to it. But again, it goes back to what I said. Most people, I think, don't realize you can put all the tactical stuff you want on it, but now you can't carry it. Now, if they decide to do a Glock registry or a cruciform trigger registry, okay, depending on how the registry is written, how that law is written could vary. So just because they didn't do it with the past one doesn't mean they wouldn't do it for the next one. They're actually going to do it exactly the same. It's because in the past, when we've had registrations, we couldn't change any kind of, how it was made. Okay. Where it had to stay in the same configuration that you bought it. Whereas when this last one just went through, you could change the configuration because you can't make a gun more assaulty.
Well, it depends. Because
depending on how it was sold.
Right.
Correct.
Pistol grip firearms were
correct.
The length of barrel. So if somebody reached out to me and like, well, can I change all these things? It depends on your barrel length.
Yes, and it depends how it was federally sold to them.
If you registered it as an SBR,
Yep.
during the whole brace debacle.
Yep.
Then it's still an SBR as long as you got your paperwork back.
As long as you have your non-tax stamp, yes.
Do not change the barrel length, and you can do whatever you want to it.
Correct.
If it's configured as an other with a shorter barrel,
yep,
leaving it the way it is, you're covered.
Yep.
If you drop the brace off the back, put a buttstock on, now you have an illegal SBR.
You can, once you get your registry back, you can do a Form 1 on it.
You could, but in the meantime.
Correct. You can't do
anything.
anything.
The only option you have is if you want to change the configuration, is get a upper with a longer barrel.
Correct.
And then once that's on there, you do your thing.
You run into a problem if it was federally sold to you as a pistol grip firearm. We, as dealers and residents, use the word other, and that is not the right word.
No.
They were pistol grip firearms. Let's throw a wrench into that. A Shockwave is a pistol grip firearm.
But here's the deal.
They don't even look the same.
But there is a difference. It does follow. Pistol grip firearm is the type, but under federal, it's still other.
No, under federal, it's pistol grip firearm.
But on
under
your 44,
Connecticut,
but on your 4473, there is no pistol grip firearm.
Yes, there is.
When did they change that? Because they always had long gun, handgun, or other.
That's Connecticut. You're flip-flopping states. You're flip-flopping two things here.
No, I'm looking at the 4473.
4473. It was either rifle, handgun,
or other.
And mine were all checked off as
other.
Others.
Nope. So in that type, sure. Okay. I get what you're talking about. Electronic system automatically does that because other, when you put a gun into the system, the new systems, we have pistol, revolver, shotgun, rifle, suppressor, destructive device, pistol grip firearm, frame and receiver, two different options.
Correct. But
there's like 15 options.
I'm talking about the backside.
And the other side of that is everything that's not a handgun or a long gun. Sure, it goes under the other category, but then you're classifying a frame or a receiver or a grenade launcher as another.
You are, but federally you are. On that first part where you're filling out what it is, all you're doing is the description. The type is still handgun, long gun, or other.
I think you're flip-flopping words.
No,
type and description.
I will show you.
You know what? On a future Lock and Load podcast, Michelle and I are going to go through a 4473 and a DPS 3 form.
And remember this. So
Moving
that we
on.
can see who's right.
Moving on.
It doesn't matter. Mine are all SBRs now. So
mine are too.
Let's talk about some other gun bills. We have SB 070073. That was the one I think Samson proposed, which was a non-refundable personal income tax credit for the purchase of a gun safe. I don't think there's been anything on that. Haven't heard anything on that. Okay.
Squat on it because I have all these in that track a bill database.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been zero movement on it.
We have 5043. I think we've beat that dead horse there. And we have HB 5435, an act concerning the risk warrant firearm holding period. This is in CCDL's website. This is the watching closely. And the description is to require that any firearm held under risk protection orders or warrant not be destroyed before 2 years have passed from the date that the person named in the order of the warrant last petitioned the court to terminate the order or warrant. So this was actually, I think, also brought up on Wednesday.
It was.
And I believe one person actually testified, I think, in favor of it, against, I don't even know. It is kind of a neutral thing because, in my opinion, reading the language of this, it has to do with red flag laws.
So it's just extending it a year.
Yeah, because it used to just be a year and PD would destroy it. Now they're extending it to 2 years.
Which is good because courts.
It's good because, especially in like a normal red flag where let's say it's a restraining order due to a divorce or something, right? 6 months to a year. Then you have to retake the class. Then you have to reapply for your permit. And then you're below that 2 year mark, but you're over that year mark. And so, okay.
And God forbid you're denied.
Yep.
And then you have to go to the firearms board.
Yep.
Which by law is 10 days, but it's 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Because of 1,200 person
backlog. Well, they
give
give you a 2 to 3 year date, but they do move it up because they take those. Stuff. Yeah, they take those and they bring the constructive denials and all that. They bring forward. So it always looks like it's a lot farther. It's not 10 days. Let's just own that. But they do move the date up. So it's never as awful as it sounds. It's still just awful.
be 5436, an act amending certain firearm definitions concerning the transfer of large capacity magazines and assault weapons. The definition here is to amend certain definitions concerning firearms and allow the legal transfer of large capacity magazines possessed under declaration of possession and assault weapons possessed under a certificate of possession between persons who are legally permitted to possess such weapons.
Right.
We understand why
and the
that's
definition of
an
a major firearm component
testified
means
against it.
barrel, slide, cylinder, or frame or receiver of firearm.
So you go get a new upper for your
Yes,
AR.
yes.
You
This
got to
is
have
what
it
we-
transferred.
This is
And
what was
there's no way
brought
to
up.
do it federally. You can't.
That's
Well,
what
let's
Connecticut
talk
wants.
about that. Let's talk about that because I testified against that bill. Now we're clicking here. The name is very deceiving,
Well,
and
yeah,
so is the description.
of course,
Um,
because they forget about
that's
that
like a
part.
bullshit sandwich right there.
Well,
Because
yeah.
like there was a little bit of good in that. Sounded like,
There
and then there's a
usually
lot of
is.
bad.
There usually is a
Um,
little bit of good because they're trying to make it like, here,
Yeah.
we're giving you a crumb.
I was confused.
You know,
There for a minute.
it's
All
like putting cookies around a pile of crap.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's what they did.
Yes.
So that
Bury it.
bill, that bill is the one that will make a barrel, a slide, a cylinder, a gun.
Yeah.
A gun.
So which, when you put all the parts together, do you have one gun or do you have five, as Doug Dubetsy asked?
They said only
of
one.
them. Yeah, but
But you
Again,
can't because you just labeled that a gun.
you had five, so you put them together like a puzzle, and now it's one. So like, how does that work?
And that's actually how I ended up sidetracking to 6667 was this has to be something the state controls. The ATF is going to tell you to go kick a fucking rock
There's no way.
because it's not a gun. So who's going to go and keep this information or track this information? It has to be the SLFU. And
Which can't keep.
They
up
don't
with
know how to do
everything else
that.
We've
No.
already done.
And there's no way they can keep track of what's going to happen.
so
You know,
that's where
no way.
I caught some shit online for this. And I explicitly remember saying, I don't know if I agree with this, but, and being slightly involved in politics now, I understand how things work. If you want to make these guns so bad, right? The parts, the guns, the barrel, the slide, the cylinder,
Trigger.
no, trigger was not one of them.
Oh, I thought they did
No,
add trigger
no.
into that.
Trigger was in here.
Was it?
They go on talking about FRTs.
That are illegal.
Right.
Okay.
That's it. They did bring it up, but it's
It's already
Make 'em-
illegal.
including
Make 'em show a
triggers
permit.
that forcibly reset to the firing position after each round is fired, such as a forced reset trigger applies force, blah, 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 blah. It's new language in this bill.
Make them have a permit. Simple as that. Like if I feel like that's
So
a
you liken it
compromise,
to ammo.
like, and body armor. Actually, that's what I likened it to. I used the body armor example. And again, I don't know if I agree with it, but I feel like it's a compromise I could survive with.
I don't agree with it, but I understand where you're coming from.
Again,
We're going to have something. So
these
Well,
are not
yeah.
controlled items.
I don't think any of it should be.
Go-
No, neither is body armor, neither is ammo,
Right.
but
I mean,
you have
like-
to have a permit for it.
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut
In
only, and it's a face-to-face transfer. In Connecticut only. We're the only state that does this. You could go on to Premier, order body armor, and have it shipped to, I don't know, a business address in like Tennessee, if that's where your LLC happens to be. There's nothing wrong with that. How does the state prevent it from coming in?
They can't.
They can't.
The businesses themselves, if they know the law, will require you to show them and supply your permit
Yep.
along
but
with
you
your
could
ID.
go down to Bud's and just buy plates.
Yep.
There's no ID.
I can go
Go
to
to
Arizona and buy
Massachusetts.
them.
You go.
Guys, you just go to Massachusetts and buy
I
body
know.
armor.
Yeah.
I'm just using a really big gun store that has a lot of moving parts where they just got barrels floating around.
Yeah.
You can just get them a new slide.
It's the same as magazines. You can buy magazines out of
Correct.
state all the
Correct.
time.
Correct.
There's no regulating it. They think this is going to regulate it. And I don't know.
It's going to hurt my business, small businesses. It's going to hurt gunsmiths.
It boils down to this, though. Ultimately, it only hurts the law-abiding citizen
Yes.
trying to comply.
Yes.
But it's so confusing. It's so worded in ways that nobody understands. It does nothing to
Yep.
stop criminals from doing criminal.
Well, because they're going to buy them
Stuff.
anyway. They always do. They get you. The only people that any of these gun laws are doing, which, keeping everybody safer, is all it's doing is taking rights away from law-abiding people who are trying to do the right thing, who can look and go, a Glock switch? I would never put a Glock switch on my gun.
I don't think anybody comes in to an FFL, buys a Glock lawfully, and then goes home to install a switch.
Correct.
Illegally.
Correct.
That's not what they do.
Well, and here's my question. Like, I don't understand. Usually, I look at bills a little different. Okay. I get angry, as most of us do. But I also look at it trying to find the logic for proposing said bills. Okay. I don't agree with it in any way, shape, or form. But if I can understand where they're coming from, at least I can go, okay, this to make it so that you have to go through all these hoops for a barrel, a slide, or a frame does not make sense to me.
Again, this came from Everytown, didn't it? Or was this Connecticut?
No, this is
Giffords.
Giffords.
Okay.
Because good old Earl Bloodworth, whatever the fuck his last name is.
He was up there with the Giffords lawyer.
Yeah, who actually should have been in the 60s, I believe. By the way, that's when he was supposed to testify. And then jumped the line with Giffords.
Always does.
And I'm
They always
like...
do. But again, it comes back to, I don't understand. Again, I don't ever agree with any of this. Okay. But say with the assault, the short-barreled rifles or others, whatever we want to call them this moment. Okay. Because I don't believe in AW. I think it's a stupid made-up word too.
Come on,
It is a made-up word.
Say it. YouTube will love it.
Say it. No. You you look at it and you go, okay. So to the non-educated gun, non-gun person, and the media, the way the media trolls and says what they say, I can understand that they'd be afraid because they're scary looking.
Well, not something like that, but it's conflated with assault rifle.
Correct.
Which is real. It's a thing.
It's an Armalite.
Yeah. Well, Armalite's a company, but an assault rifle, I mean, you can go all the way back to Germany when they created the assault rifle in the 40s. Gewehr.
But it was not an AR.
No, but it's an assault rifle because it's got select fire. You go from safe to semi to full.
Which ours don't.
Or burst, which civilian versions do not. There you go. But politically, they use assault weapon to confuse
and scare
the non-gun people, just like Virginia created the assault firearm.
Well, that's why I said I get where that comes from. I don't understand the reasoning behind the parts trying to change them into pistols.
I understand why.
Then explain it to me.
They're fucking evil.
Oh, okay. So not really. Yes, but
it's that simple.
Like nobody's.
They're just pulling shit out of the air
because nobody's come up with a reason saying I think this should be done because this, and this. Instead, it's because I feel unsafe.
Well, they mentioned it slightly. It had to do with ghost guns. Or 3D printing frames.
I just want to know, when does a gun barrel become a gun barrel? I could go buy
a cylinder,
PVC pipe, a metal cylinder.
Yeah.
Like we could make a potato gun.
Oh, absolutely. I have.
Hypothetically. Actually, Michelle doesn't have any dogs. It's okay.
But when does it become a barrel? That's what I want to know.
I don't think that definition's in there, Todd.
It's the same as if you look at an 80%. When exactly does it become
they
a
brought
firearm?
up the AR-00s.
Yep.
And I'm like...
I had to Google that. I had no idea what he was talking about.
I had never heard
of it either. And I'm sitting back there and I'm like, oh.
I paused the video and I was like, what? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, look at that. It's a chunk of aluminum and they sell a machine.
Yeah.
So my question is, when does a block of aluminum become a lower?
We already did this during ghost guns and the 80%. We've already been down that range.
They admitted that building your own gun and getting it serialized from SLFU is perfectly legal.
So how did I do that without 80%?
Block of aluminum.
Because Fishbein brought it up. Goes,
you need to know how to mill.
This is legal, and they're like, yes. What are we doing?
You can't buy an 80% already 80% done, but you can if you had the machining background.
That's the AR-00. It's literally a chunk of aluminum.
Yes, and you get that chunk of aluminum. If you have the machining background, you can make that, get it serialized, and do all these things, and it becomes...
But they were going after the AR-00 for not getting it serialized.
Well, that's an action, though. That's not what it is. That's
but then they admitted that even if you mill it down and there is no serial number, as long as you got one, it's legal. Which makes no sense. And I'm like, we're banned. What are we banning?
We're not. We're prohibiting the sale.
You're not going to get an AR.
Future sale, Michelle. Future sale.
But it's all it comes down to. You know, you're coming from a position of logic with all this gun control. That's where we come from.
Yes.
It's not about that.
I know.
It's nothing that they're doing is about crime, safety, or anything else. This is their slow, steady march that they've been on for decades to eliminate gun ownership in this country. That's it.
I was literally up testifying, I'd say probably now 4 years ago, maybe 5. And a woman from the anti-side got up and did testimony. And I felt horrible for this woman. I truly did. Because I always listen. Again, you learn more, you educate yourself when you can listen, even if it's someone who disagrees with your concepts. So she's up there and literally bawling, talking about how afraid she is and how she is paralyzed because she's afraid to go to the store. It was for the open carry. And she was afraid to go, out because if she saw a gun, it makes her just like lose her mind. And she just is so afraid and it just freezes her, and literally went through this whole thing and talked for about half an hour. And my heart went out to this woman. I thought, oh my God, she's paralyzed because of media misinformation. And she has no knowledge of a firearm.
Sounds like she needs therapy.
Well, yes, but she has no knowledge of a firearm, which makes it more scary. So I'm like, okay, let me go talk to her. So I got up, walked over to her. I said, look, I listened to your testimony and I feel for you and I feel really bad. Is there something? Like I teach classes, even if you don't want to use an actual firearm, I can give you something.
Okay. The screen jumped.
Okay. I'm like, I can give you
recording. Okay.
I can give you a blue gun, or we could just talk. We could just look at the book. We could just go through things. Maybe that would help alleviate some of the fear that you're feeling because you don't have the education.
No, we've tried this.
No, she looked at me, freaking woman. She looked at me and she goes, oh, I'm not afraid of guns. I just did that to testify. I was like, you son of a bitch. Last time I was nice to one of them. Let me tell you, last freaking time.
Well, I mean, look at those that supported it. They gave their names freely. Connor Webb. He's from Students Demand Action. All he did was give talking points. And they were all wrong. And then you had Grayson, who followed him up. And this is right around the 4-hour 29 mark because they're back to back. And I showcased both of them in my long video. They gave no facts, and anything they said was like borderline idiotic, but it was clearly a talking point from Students Demand Action, like one of these groups that are clueless and really have no idea.
Well, did you see the Yukon kid who was a survivor of Sandy Hook, and now he is with Students Demand Action. So he testified also. And I'm like, so this is just as they grow up, they've been taught because they went through this huge tragedy, which was awful. Okay. And certain families have just coveted that. And now they're putting them into the anti-gun, society and echelon. So get up there and speak. And he's the head of it for Yukon. And I'm like,
the poster child for that is David Hogg.
Oh boy, Chief Exploiter #1, boy.
You watch him, and I'm just, my brain hurts. I'm like,
don't get me going.
What is he talking about?
He's not. He's just black. But you sit back and you just, all this comes down to education. I say it all the time.
I shared on social media. My Facebook feed for
Gun Guru.
Gun Guru or personal?
Actual. No, Gun Guru Actual.
Okay.
Chuck Schumer came out and said that the SAVE Act would make it easier to buy an AR-15 than register to vote.
Yeah.
And people believe that.
Yep.
Somebody else, and I quoted it, it was a tweet. It says, "Hey MAGA, if you're suddenly so pro-ID, you're cool with adding the same requirement for gun purchases, right?"
I love that.
And I personally, I was like, who wants to tell her? Yeah. Clearly, they never bought a gun or tried to.
I would love to have that be the same requirement to buy a gun. And I love how they're using for the SAVE Act. They're using this whole thing. Well, it's making it so women can't vote. I'm sorry, women may get married for years, and just decades and decades. I know I did it, and I did it a long time ago before you had a lot of this access online to do everything.
My wife changed her last name. You know how they have like a little subscription?
Did it take her 6 months?
No. Do you know how they have little subscription boxes out there? They have a box for that.
Yes.
You go into this, she paid for it and put in all of her information, clicked the IDs that she had, including her passport. They mail you all the forms pre-filled out with little tabs on where to sign, how much to write the check for, and where to mail it or where to go. I think the one in person she had to do was the Social Security Administration.
Probably.
That was in Hartford, which happened to be next to the building she was working at. So she went on her lunch.
See, I had all that prior too, and I had to dig down every single one, and I still got it done like less than a month. And if you're going to get married a week before election day, then don't change your name legally until after election day. Come on, people.
We went on our honeymoon. She didn't change her name yet because by the time we got married, and then the honeymoon was 2 weeks later, and we have a passport because we went on a 14-night cruise.
Yep.
You don't go don't cause a problem.
No,
just stick with that. And then it was changed by the next one. Whatever.
I just don't understand. And the Democrats are screaming this at the top of their lungs.
Well, they also think it's hard to get an ID.
Oh, they want free IDs. If this is what you're going to pass, then all IDs should be free.
I'm pretty sure a state ID already is.
It is. But everybody buys a driver's license. I mean, not everybody, but a good chunk of people. We're already paying for a passport. You can't get a free passport. They're like, we want free passports. You got to pay for the background check. I don't like it, but that's what you're paying for at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
This is not hard, people. And then you have all these people believing it. Again, logic. I have a huge problem because I am a logical person. I'm a principled person. Logic and principles are useless with most of society today.
Mm-hmm. That's saying it nicely right there.
On to the next bill, HB 5451, an act concerning possession of a firearm in school grounds by a peace officer. As long as a peace officer possesses firearms in school grounds, whether they are engaged in performance of their official duties.
So not an off-duty cop. If they're off duty,
what's a peace officer? Peace
officer.
It's a cop.
It's a cop. No, it'd be like a resource officer.
It's still a cop.
Yeah.
A lot of them are retired though. They're not actual. They're still
like the supernumeraries. That's what they are down here. They're retired cops.
Yes,
but
they stay post regulated, but they're no longer with a PD.
I don't know where I live. They're cops.
Except it's Meriden.
Except the tech school, which is a state.
You need cops if you live in
Meriden. State trooper. You need more than cops.
B 5459, an act concerning the voluntary relinquishment of firearms. This allows an individual at any time to relinquish any firearm owned by such individual to a police department or the DESPP.
Wait a minute.
Can't you already do that?
Yeah, that's redundant.
You can already do that.
You can do that. Yeah.
So why do we need a law?
I don't know.
I mean, last I checked, you can get rid of any gun you want to.
Yeah. Walking in the police department.
You can go to a buyback and get a gift card.
Not walk into a police department with the gun.
I would not recommend that, Darren.
You can walk into a police department with leaving the gun in the locked trunk.
Yes.
Let me clarify.
Excuse me, I have all of these.
Yeah. But turning it over to a police department is legal. I'm not talking about going with the strapped on your back like a samurai sword.
Call ahead, leave them in your car, let the police pull them out.
Yep. Sometimes they'll come to your house and get them if they want, whatever their policy is. But I
would never.
So here's a real story for you guys.
Yeah, but why do we have a law?
I don't know.
Or
it's proposed law.
It's only committee, though it has been
public
voted.
Safety.
Well, we like to have several bills and laws over top of one another.
So I had a little old guy come in and to the store, and he was just recently arrested for a DUI while carrying a firearm with a high capacity magazine. So B misdemeanor for the DUI with the firearm. I don't think it was his first DUI, so I don't think there was a charged with that, at least like a misdemeanor charge. But then there was the high cap that he didn't know was a high cap
And
because he had no idea because he was 70 plus.
Because it's what I bought when I got the gun.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Little Beretta, I think it was like an 84F. It was like a 15 round Beretta.
Oh, geez.
And because he showed me a picture of it.
Cute little gun.
Yeah. And he had an AR at his house. And he didn't
good.
want it anymore. And he was like, "Can you take it?" And I was like, "No, not with 7042 and 6667 and all the mess." And I was just like, "No." And I called Greg Miller, and like we went back and forth. And so it was a pre-ban, whatever. Right. And he's like, "I just want to get rid of it." And I was like, "All right." So I was like, "Hold on." So I called the state and I asked for Sergeant Maurice. I always say Bree or Bryn wrong. So Sergeant Maurice.
It's Bree.
And so I asked her and I was like, "Hey, this is the situation. He has a neighbor who is a retired police officer who's going to drive him and the firearm. Well, he'll take possession of the firearm, put it in the car. And I give him a cable lock and everything. So it's locked up properly." She was like, "No problem. I'm here until this time today and this time tomorrow." And he's like, and she's like, "Have him come to the front door to the trooper that's there and ask for me." And there you go. And so I explicitly told him, like, put the cable lock through this way. And leave it in your trunk. Leave it in your trunk. Leave it in your trunk. Do not bring the gun to the front door.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Nope, we were good. He came back like a week later.
Okay.
I was thanks me for it. She came outside. She got the gun. She brought it in, did the little paperwork. And that was that. Pretty simple process. Obviously, like, that's sad. Poor AR.
Well, next time you get a pre-ban AR somebody wants to just hand over, could you call me? I'll take it in on the FFL.
But it was a mess. Like, so they could take them.
Yep.
Right? This was a couple months ago.
Well, that's why I don't understand why.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Again, I think it's because they don't know.
So HB 5454, an act concerning the refund of certain firearm permit fees. If the local permitting authority fails to discharge any obligation applicable to such local permitting authority pursuant to the current firearm permitting provisions within the applicable limits, the local permitting authority shall refund $70.
But again, it doesn't say whether you'll get your permit or they're refunding and then you got to start over.
And if they add in there, like, oh, they got to give you your money back and you continue through the process to get your temporary permit.
Correct.
Well, this is a CCL endorsed one.
Yeah,
and I do remember Peter saying something like that. I know Peter, I believe, went and testified for this bill. Peter Estrada.
I have no problem with this one. I just want to codify that. Yeah, if they give you the money back, they got to continue the process. They can't just be like, well, you didn't pay.
I'd have to read the bill fully, because if they're leaving it open-ended like that, they're going to turn around and go, yeah, we'll give you your money back and you can start over.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be in the same boat getting your money back again 6 months later.
And listen.
This was a 29-0 vote, and Howard made the motion. So I would like to assume it was probably written okay.
I just want to make sure the language is in there because, yes,
you don't know that,
CDL supports it, but they also were kind of indifferent on 7042, which we were screaming that it was going to be an absolute train wreck.
There was no kind of. They said it was not anti-gun. Exactly. There's no kind of in that.
Well, we came off as the paranoid ones.
Oh, yes. And heard about it. Except everything we said came true.
So
next,
HB 5533, an act concerning protection of election administration process, election sites, election workers, and electors. This was proposed, I think, 2 years ago with 6667.
No guns near the election sites within like 1,000 feet or something.
To establish prohibitions on certain conduct, including the possession of a firearm or deadly weapon at or near certain election-related locations, impose criminal penalties for harassment of election workers and tampering with or unauthorized sharing of election equipment, and allow the Attorney General involvement in matters relating to subpoenas, warrants, and other requests and alleged interference with elections.
Yeah, right away, when you say the Attorney General in any bill, your skin crawls.
Yeah, good old Tom.
This is redundant. Most of these polling places, election places are at schools. You can't carry a gun at a school.
They do have some at churches and stuff like that.
How close, though? Because the original bill was 1,000, which is a quarter of a mile. You could just be walking on the street minding your own business. If you're within a quarter mile of that polling location on that day,
drop boxes,
but I will
early
say
voting.
Well, yeah, because if they don't want anybody with a gun near the drop box, because that's ballots, I will say
they can just stuff them in Bridgeport.
They will pass this, but then it will be the enforcement will be left
250 feet.
So 250 is not bad, but because as much as I don't agree with it.
Yeah, but I'm driving down the street on Route 10 in Southington, and there's a ballot box drop location in the front of the town hall.
You're not going to.
I'm in my car
driving by because that's where it comes into the enforcement. That's where they leave that ability for the law enforcement to make a judgment call.
You also can't wear a mask.
I don't agree with it, but that's how they write these.
Yeah.
Wait. Now we're getting rid of masks?
Yep, you can't wear a mask up that obstructs your face.
What about cooties?
Within 250 feet.
What if I'm scared of cooties?
What if I'm sick? I can't put my mask on to vote?
Oh, nope, not anymore.
Oh, I'll have to cough on people?
What I think is funny.
I don't want
when you go vote, do you have to show your ID?
Yes.
Yeah. Connecticut, I have to show my driver's license.
Or
we need to see your driver's license.
Yes.
Or some sort of ID.
Some sort of picture ID. Mrs. Guru.
Mrs. Guru, she lost her driver's license one time. We had to go vote. She used her pistol permit.
Yeah.
They were not happy with that.
Really?
Yeah, they were like.
I've heard some people
get
problems.
One of the higher ups come over like, no, that's a valid state ID.
It's a federal ID.
Get bent, lady.
Yeah.
So they let her vote. And then this last cycle we went to vote, and we were asking, like, what forms of ID would you accept? And they included out-of-state driver's licenses. I was like, what? If you have an out-of-state driver's license, how the hell can you vote?
And do you have to bring and prove out-of-state driver's license, but prove with a piece of mail? No. But they also don't know to look for the drive only on your driver's license, because the drive onlys are given to illegals because they thought if they gave out the drive only, well, they said if they gave out the drive onlys, they would have to get insurance, which would help with car accidents. Not the case. And what they're doing is just giving them out so that they could vote.
The big thing, though, is do you ever wonder why in Connecticut we have to show our ID to vote, yet it's not racist?
I know. And
nobody throws a fit that it's too hard to get an ID in order to vote in Connecticut.
Well, and yet our Connecticut Democrats are all pissed that they want to make it a federal law when we do it anyway. I don't understand that either. And they're saying because it's going to make it harder for women to vote. Connecticut women have been voting all along, motherfucker.
Again, though, I liked when my wife tried to use her permit to vote. The look she got.
Oh, my people laugh.
They
think it's great. They think it's great.
The ire in that woman's eyes looking at her, like, how dare she? Mm-hmm. I was like, shit, I'm going to start using mine to vote with.
I use mine for a lot of ID purposes. I would use it in bars when they, if they're looking for ID, because it's got your age and everything on it. I use my permit all the time. A lot of times for shock value, I'll be totally honest. But I do use it quite often.
Yeah, you ever want to get a jury duty? Use your pistol permit.
Oh, here you go.
I tried to use my military ID to show. They're like, this isn't real. What is this? And I'm like, that's a government ID. I'm like, by the Department of Defense. And they're like, yeah, we don't accept this. I was like, which TSA accepts this. Everybody accepts this. This came from Uncle Sam. They're like, it's not good enough here. And I'm like,
so here's my stupid Connecticut driver's license.
Right.
Is that better? And which is so funny when you're talking about a full military, which is the whole entire nation. But no, you want my Connecticut driver's license.
You know what, Todd? You should give me a Utah permit next time.
Oh, that'll mess them up.
Oh, that one really. I've got two. So I've got my non-resident and the instructor one.
Oh, now you're really messing with people.
I screwed it. Well, I did at Wolf's. Because when you log in, when you sign in your students, you have to put your name, your Connecticut permit, and your instructor credentials. Quickest one for me to grab was my Utah instructor, because you have to be an NRA instructor and a bunch of other stuff.
Yep.
So I signed in on that. And Tammy looked at the number and goes, what's this? She's like looking at my ID. I was like, they're just the instructor credentials. She's like, no, I need an NRA card. I was like, this is good enough. and she wanted to argue with me. And I'm like, lady,
please don't. This is better than just the NRA. Yeah.
I can't.
Yep.
At least now, like something happened prior where someone was running their mouth and I just looked over and they're like, the new owner's just like, stop.
Yep.
Let it be. And I just walked away. I was just like, I already have all this worked out. Please stop.
Like we're here twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, all the time.
Yep. So what's the next bill, Josh?
That was it.
Oh.
We're done with the bills that are on.
Hang on.
Like you don't think that's enough?
For a short session, this is good.
No, that's supposed to say it's a short legislative session and it's supposed to only deal with fiscal stuff.
No, I actually got that clarified.
That's the interpretation.
That's the interpretation. The reason there's a short cycle is mostly so that there's more time to campaign for the legislators. Okay. And the fiscal part is they try to do more fiscal because it's the budget year. So they try to keep it that way, but it is not necessary because I always thought it had to have a financial line or attachment in order to go through. That's why I couldn't understand what they were doing. And then we talked to, was it Fazio? I think that was
Sampson.
I think it was one of them.
Sampson's testimony was.
So I'm in the room when Sampson's testifying. I stayed through Fazio and then I left after that around 5 something. And I wanted to stay for both of them. And so being in that room when Fishbein pulls up from California, he's like, I have the California Attorney General's here. And, I don't know either he or she, I don't know which. And then Sampson goes, they probably don't either since they're in California. Room audibly laughed and Staffstrom got so pissed.
Yes, lost
his shit. And which was fucking hilarious. And then starts clapping shit about next session. We're going to change the rules. Well, first of all, that assumes that you win, which you might.
He's Bridgeport.
But that assumes that that Democrats win everything, which they probably will. But it was very arrogant of him to say that. And then Fishbein was like, well, it's this session and these rules, so I'm going to ask my question. And I was like, good job, Craig. Like, he did good that day. And we'll see what he does with the rest of this.
Out of all the testimony I watched, I was dead silent, except when that happened. I gave a loud, audible laugh. I was like, damn.
Well, you got to understand.
The whole room did, man.
Sampson and a bunch of them, Howard, there's a few you can name, are pissed. They're done. And you can see because they're getting more vocal. Like, look at Gail and what she's been doing up there, not having to do with guns. But she's getting more and more vocal. And for a long time, the Republicans up there were quiet because they just thought they didn't have a leg to stand on. But now that they've been also getting in touch with DOJ and having them come in and look at our lovely legislature and how things are working, the Republicans are they're standing up. They're the press conferences they're having. Granted, will it win? Will it change much? I don't know. But even if it doesn't change it this session, if they can continue that momentum, because we are behind the 8 ball.
A little snowball rolling
with the
downhill.
numbers. Exactly. Keep them on their feet. Keep working. Because I used to say all the time, if you guys know up there what's going on and these bills are crazy, why are you not drawing attention to it? Like, because the Democrats are up there screaming, yeah, we got to do this because of this. But you heard crickets out of the Republican Party for years.
Like I always said, if they rant, scream, and lose.
Right.
At least they tried.
That's how I feel.
I had no problem with that.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, I doubt we're going to win.
Right.
But at least you tried.
Put up a fight.
You're doing what I put you there to do.
Correct.
But I always felt like with the Connecticut legislative body, Republicans always just rolled over and let the Democrat Party run roughshod.
No, we're seeing a difference, especially it started the end of last year, but coming into this year, they have been very vocal.
No, I've seen some of the press conferences.
Guys, that's the CTGOP for you.
Parts of it, right? They've been uppity.
Well,
the CTGOP is in general very soft.
Yeah.
Right? They try to find a moderate all the time.
Yeah.
Like, no, you keep trying to do that and it keeps failing. Look at Stepanowski V2, right?
Yep.
Version 2, he lost even worse because he went soft on everything, including guns.
Yes,
this is what Stefanowski, the last cycle. You just got the impression he didn't want the job.
Yeah.
The way he talked, he just like he didn't want it.
First run, he did really good, and his numbers were good until
they got fucked in Bridgeport in the water ballots.
Well, New Haven.
Yeah, all that area.
Yeah.
It's the fraudulent, and I'll put it right out there because they've already been charged. Not that it's going to change anything, but the fraudulent votes, the bags of votes that were found, all of a sudden, last minute, oh my God, all these Democrats in this one bag. How? That's amazing. His second round, yes, he went very, very soft. But our GOP wants that. Our state central wants that. They want basically the biggest rhino they can find, Aaron Stewart, so that they can get a win, because they consider it a win as long as it's an R behind the name. It doesn't matter if they truly feel strong on the policies and they're truly Republican policies, as long as it has an R. My thing is, if they're not a true Republican, the win means fucking nothing.
So let's talk about 5043 again, and who testified against this bill, and who we'll go through all the governor candidates. Ned proposed the bill.
Yep.
Josh Elliott, who's the Democrat primarying him, is co-sponsored the bill.
Yep.
See,
Which
I don't even know
how he did, because he's not a legislator.
Yeah, he is. He's a rep. He's a House rep.
I thought he was a mayor.
No, he's a House rep.
Okay, never mind.
See, I don't know her last name. She hasn't gotten her funding yet. So, former lieutenant governor of New York at some point, she was there speaking along with Aaron Stewart at a press conference. I think they both submitted typed testimony.
Yeah, I know Aaron did. I don't know about Betsy.
But they did not submit verbal testimony. And the only one that actually submitted verbal testimony against the gun bills, against the adult vaccine mandates, and against the DCF getting involved in homeschooling was Ryan Fazio. And
which this is not an endorsement.
It's not an endorsement of any candidate. It's definitely not an endorsement of any of the Democrats. But his testimony, just like when he was on the podcast, was very thought out. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm sure he's going to be talking about more of this when it gets to the Senate floor with Sampson.
Because he has the experience. He has been up in the legislature for 5 years. He knows how it works. So, in that aspect, he has more experience in running how the state is run. That's a better way of putting it. How the state is run and how the interworkings happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
At least that's what I see. They qualified. I think at the end of the day, everyone that's running, whether I agree with them and their policies or not, they all have a qualification in some way, shape, or form for some people. Okay. So like the Democrat candidates, I think if you're a true Democrat, you feel that they have credentials. They have what it takes. The Republican, they're obviously running for a reason. They have backing for a reason. Betsy, I'm not so sure, like you said, because she's kind of like quiet.
Oh, she's not quiet.
Right. But, that's a whole
that's a whole other story.
But if people are backing them, they think that they have some qualifications to come up. So the question then becomes, in everybody's personal, who has the best qualifications, or who do they think will do the best job, which sucks because in Connecticut, it usually ends up not picking the best candidate. We have to pick the best of the worst.
This state is party driven.
Yes. And that's what sucks.
It doesn't matter who the Democrat is, they're going to get that vote.
Well, and even when it comes to the Republicans, usually it's not who the best candidate is. It's just who they think will win because of their name or their sex or their age or where they live. It's never, I have been voting for a long time. Okay.
It's because you're old.
I was waiting for it, but I don't think I have ever voted, except for once, for a candidate that I thought was the best candidate, because by the time it comes down to election day, my best candidate is never on the fucking ballot.
Lieberman.
It was a little bit before me.
Not much.
Not much.
Just made me feel old.
Something. Lieberman was definitely not before you.
Listen, I did not agree with Lieberman.
Okay.
But I knew what I was getting.
Well, yes.
And he was honest.
Yeah.
to a point.
And
he just said
he fucked over Ned. That's the best part, because Ned won the Democrat primary. He's like, "Fuck you, I'm going independent."
Yeah,
and the Republicans voted for him.
Yeah.
It wasn't before my time. It was before I was paying attention to
politics in general.
Yes. Well, no, I always paid attention to national. National, always I watched. I didn't realize how important local was. And then it took me time to learn from state local down to like town local and municipalities. I'm there. But I took it because it's not something that you just
that's a natural track, I think, because like I paid attention a little more federal, then I paid attention more state level, especially with the store, and I really paid attention at local, and now I am local.
Well, because the local, if you pay attention to the local end, that's who's coming up the ladder or who's nominating and pushing. They may not actually be in local politics, but it's somebody who knows somebody out of local politics that's pushing that next one up.
Well, I notice a lot of people worry about like Murphy and Blumenthal. I'm like, that's great. I don't like either
Chris
one.
Murphy started in Southington Planning and Zoning.
And I know Chris Murphy personally.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. Because once he got elected, he was like, Todd who? And that's Lieberman's the one that stepped in and helped me out with my situation. But anyways, how does Blumenthal or Murphy actually affect your day-to-day life?
They don't, because they're losing.
You garbage online that I have to read.
But your mayor and your city council have a direct impact on you.
Oh, absolutely.
And then from there, our state general assembly, like I saw a thing today where they're introducing a new bill for a 2% or 2-cent tax on sugary
drinks in schools, but it's in schools.
No. It's to pay for
school lunches.
And it's not just sugary drinks, it's anything including artificial sweeteners. So your sugar-free sodas, your diet sodas, your sodas, all your energy drinks, all of them are going to be taxed. So your 6-pack of or your 12-pack of soda, which is $6, will be close to 12. I'm like, it's great. We're gonna tax the poor to feed the poor.
Well, they just keep doing it.
Because that's who it hurts.
Yes, and they just keep doing it. There's just no end. It doesn't. Who was it? I think it was Lamont was up spewing some kind of garbage. I just want to know
who writes this. Who wrote this one?
I don't know.
Obviously, we know it's not.
Well, guys, we focus on the gun industry, right?
General Assembly.
There is obviously this same thing in other industries, right?
Sure.
So we have every town and, CAGVA and other crap. I'm sure there's somebody in the sugar industry, the soda industry, the like
farming
health
industry,
farming, like they're all there.
The green energy.
We just pay attention a lot more to guns.
But that, and it comes down to, because there's a lot of stuff, believe me, I start looking at all the bills proposed, because when you're in there, you just start scrolling around. I have to walk away because my main concern is 2A. That's where I'm at. If I start going down the rabbit hole of everything else that affects my life, which is like, all of it, I'd never, ever leave the Capitol building.
Well, and that's why they schedule important things on the same day, right? The amount of, like, let's say homeschooling parents, specifically fathers that were there, that were wearing like 9-line apparel, right? Pretty pro-America, pro-2A company. And they're there for homeschooling to testify against that.
That's why they're homeschooling.
Probably. And like they would pop in and then they would leave, and you can't line up timing. And then they cap the testimony on certain places too.
But the Republicans fought and opened it up and had him come back.
They kept a public one off the record because the committee ended, but the Republicans stayed to hear everyone.
At midnight 30, but they said
it still doesn't. It's not right.
The law says we have to hear everybody, and there's 500 people.
But did you see Lamont's?
The Democrats left. They're like, no.
Lamont's answer was, "It's okay. We still have the best, the best plan and the best. We facilitate it the best. If you look at Rhode Island, only you have to do it by invite only, or something like that."
So they compare us to other states
that are terrible.
Yep,
which we knew this.
The Democrat Senate on Instagram and TikTok, it came up on my Instagram feed, compared Connecticut public testimony to other states
that are bad,
comparing us to New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And I'm like, first of all, you just shot your friends in the foot there. Second of all, that's great. You still suck. They suck worse.
Well, and you can't just make it up willy-nilly because you don't want to listen to it. If the policy is everyone who puts in a request, puts in their time slot to do testimony, gets time. You can't just decide, oh, this one's way too big. We're not going to listen to these people.
And that's exactly what they did.
That's what they did.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's when you look at it, you want to compare all these other states. That's all fine. But your policy is not what those states are. If you want that,
and if you want to change it, exactly. Change it.
Here's the thing, though. Right now, all the way back to 2A. We did the full breakdown for the stupid public hearing. Everybody has the same consensus.
They didn't listen.
It falls on deaf ears.
Because they weren't in the room. Most of the Dems.
Little Dick was in the room the entire. No, he wasn't. He was in there
doing this.
Yes.
He was in there at least 15% of the time. I'll give him credit on that.
Wow.
On his phone the entire time, except during the first speaker where he said some bullshit for 60 seconds and then literally sat there on his phone like this.
Because he already knows how he's voting. So they give us this time to have public testimony, and it was overwhelming opposition.
They'll ignore it anyways. But that was everybody's consensus. Like, it's great that we did this. I submitted testimony. What's the point? They're going to ignore it anyways. Just like I did a video, like, today's your last day to get your testimony in by 3 p.m.
Yep.
And it was already shut off. And then during the public hearing, they said, well, we're going to continue to accept their testimony beyond.
Yes.
But when you go to the website, it's not there. So I'm trying to tell people in my comment section, just select you don't see it listed and then throw it in there.
Or you can also, the other thing you can do is it may not be listed up and you may not be able to get it in under public testimony. But if you cannot submit it, at least email it to your state senator and your state rep. Because depending, like I do it, my senator is one of the biggest Dems you're ever going to have. Whatever I send to him back, I get the whole, oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. No, I'm not helping you. So if I get anything back from him, but I always send it because, again, like I've said in ours several times, if I don't send it and one of them I send to, even though the other one's a Democrat too, they'll sometimes come in and listen to me speak because I am a direct constituent. So sometimes they'll come in even when they're not in committee. Other times, like I've had Republicans where they were in committee, but they're doing 150 things that same day, but they make it time to come in and listen to mine when I'm there. But it all, if you at least let your people know when it hits the floor, that's when it counts. And if they hear from you, because I always submit it to testimony and to my reps.
So I did this to Southington. You have one state senator, Rob Sampson, and we have 4 state reps that hit Southington. Mine is Donna Veach, who's on Judiciary, who was there.
Yep.
Took a little photo op afterwards. And that's great. So I emailed her, Sampson, and Gail.
Okay.
Manifacesco. I'm sure I murdered that incorrectly. All the same. What?
Master Francisco.
There's a lot of vowels in there. Okay. Emailed them all the same thing, a copy of my testimony, and they know who I am. I then emailed separately, but together, Rebecca Martinez, who's out of Plainville, part of Southington, and Chris Poulos, who is the majority of Southington in the 81st district. And I did it kind of generically. I did it from my email address, not the store's email address. And Chris knows who I am. Rebecca, we've been in the same room once. And I said, I'm a small business owner in town here. Didn't say I own a gun store. And said, I'm going up to the Capitol Wednesday to testify against. And I just gave the bill numbers. Here's my number. I'd love to speak to you. Maybe make time for an office hour or something. I'm looking forward from hearing from you. And I also mentioned that I was on Southington Town Council because I am. And not that A had to do with B here, because it did not. I went up as Josh from Lock and Load. But I feel like maybe a response to that from those two would have been something like,
crickets.
Thanks for letting me know, blah, blah, blah. No answer, nothing.
But see, it's okay though, because the more you do that, the more they know who you are. Even if they don't know who you are in person, this is the one thing that I say about with people, because they go, no, I have no idea who my rep is. I have no idea who my senator is. They should at least recognize your name. Keep in touch with them, because eventually you're either going to be that freaking thorn in their side, or they're going to understand where the support comes, depending on who you have.
Well, like when I did my written testimony, I literally put my name and Gun Guru. And when it has occupation, I was like, Connecticut Pro 2A YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, I'm going to let you know who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not hiding.
Yeah.
You know where to find me.
Well, Matt was also, again, quoted in the news, in one of the news articles. He didn't do testimony, but he had submitted. So apparently the news were reading the submitted testimony, which they can. It's all public.
Sure.
Yep.
Which I found interesting. And I was like, why did they pick him out of
I
2000?
wonder if they used your quote last year. So
Well,
they looked for it this year.
That's what I said. I said, I wonder, because he did go under Patriotware. And I said, I wonder if they were looking for the Patriotware testimonies just now that they know where we came in. And because last year was such a win on our part, if they went looking for that. But I don't know.
But I will say this about the public hearings, because I'm attesting to this because this happened. There were 2 times I testified, gun bills. But, when we were doing the whole video, doing it via through the internet video, you sign up to, you get in the line twice. 2 bills, 2 times I testified. I was behind, after Jeremy Stein from CAGV.
I'm
both
sorry.
times. But I'm sitting there going, I thought the testimony was only 3 minutes. This guy was just talking and talking. I'm sitting there going,
once they ask you a question, you can continue.
Yeah. And then they, right after he's done with his testimony,
they catch him.
They start giving him loaded questions. And I'm sitting there going, I thought I was literally going to open up with saying, I thought this was only 3 minutes per person.
No, Stein is different because he's CAGV.
Yeah. The guy got 4 to 5 minutes to just talk and then got loaded questions twice.
I've seen
I was after that guy, and I'm sitting there going, this is insane. But that's how these public hearings go.
Yep.
Well, you're the enemy of the state there.
Yes.
You like guns.
Yeah.
I've seen him up there for a half an hour.
Yeah.
He
I'm
actually
stunned.
brought in a 80% when they were trying to do the ghost guns. And he smuggled it in through an officer that he knew from I don't know what department.
Waterbury's Waterbury police chief who got arrested.
And
wow.
But
because Chris Patel brought that up.
Yes.
In his testimony. Chris went in and he was just on fire the entire time.
Awesome.
And I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah, Chris Patel he's awesome. He's very well spoken.
I don't know how we got onto the Ford Pinto, but I learned more about the Ford Pinto that day.
I mean, I was half listening at that point, and then I heard Pintos come up. I was like, what? Where are we going with this?
I mean, his analogy
It
kind of made sense.
It works.
It worked.
But yeah, that's unfortunately, that's public hearings are literally skewed to one side.
Every town for gun, hour and fucking 25 minutes in the beginning.
And usually they have the chiefs of police and everybody else that comes in, and they don't have a 3-minute time frame.
No.
Yeah,
all
no,
of
they
these
just
antis
talk.
and the organizations that come in with the antis are against, that are with the majority side up there making votes.
Yeah.
They get to just come in and just chit chat.
Sure.
And talk and talk about shit that doesn't make sense.
They brought up the police chiefs. They're like, none of the police chiefs endorse this. And then they brought up just because they didn't say they endorse it doesn't mean they don't.
They don't.
I'm like,
I've talked to more police chiefs than
then they talk about the one chief who gave a press conference,
West Hartford,
and say some off the wall comments. It's like, okay, that's one dude.
Because they know that it is not your Glock, my Glock, or your Glock, or anybody else's Glock that's the problem on the streets. They know they're the freaking hood boogers and the guys who are stealing them and all that kind of stuff. They know this.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did we just get Michelle to admit she owns a Glock?
No, personally, no.
The FFL does.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You just need to transfer it into your name just because of this.
No, I just don't.
It's not just Glocks, though. It's going to be Ruger RXMs, the Shadow System.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all the cruciforms. It's the clones.
Yeah,
it's
we keep
16
saying
companies, and they admit it. It's thousands of guns.
But have you looked at any of the follow-up media that when they're talking about this, and they said, I can't remember which legislator it was that said it, but they said, all we want is for the manufacturers to change the makeup of the gun so that it cannot be it cannot be done. But no, it was legislator did it too. I'm like, yeah, but that's not all you want, because Glock already changed it once and immediately a new switch came out. So then we came out with this prohibition of future sales, not a ban.
Because of household tools.
Correct.
And then
But
yeah, it's like crescent wrench.
Crescent wrench.
But you sit there and you look at it and you go, so okay, so if Glock somehow magically decides to change from the cruciform trigger and decides to put in some other trigger, okay, and it doesn't have that bar, so it's no longer available to even do any of this, are they going to take this prohibition? Yes, that away? Are they going to just nix the law?
No.
It's like, no, so that's not truly your goal. Your end game is not that.
Again,
your end game is to just make sure we can't buy guns.
I sell Glocks, and I just still look up what a cruciform trigger bar is.
Uh-huh.
All right, and now like I looked at it and I knew like, oh yeah, that's a trigger bar. But like, okay.
So the only reason
that's great.
I knew what it was is because of California.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I covered California's when they were going after it. And I was
I
like,
always heard the term, but I was like, all right,
well, I had to look it up. I'm like, what are they talking about?
So for the viewers at home, if you don't know what the hell a cruciform trigger bar is, that's fine. The pro-gun people didn't know what it was either. And hell, the anti-gun people sure the hell don't.
No, but somebody told them.
But somebody told them to show them a picture.
Yep. Said this is bad.
This is this go bat, bat. I don't know.
You need to stop the sale of those.
This causes the gun violence.
Yes. This right here causes all the gun violence.
This little bent piece of metal.
Everybody's making these machine guns.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mine are wrong.
In an alternative of all of this, if we're now classifying these as machine guns, does that mean I can turn my pre-Glocks, July 1st Glocks into machine guns legally? If the bill passes, they're machine guns.
Well, no, if they do a registration and if it's written the right way, but you can't carry it.
That's okay. I can legally obtain a Glock switch and just go. Brr.
You can illegally obtain a Glock switch.
No, they're legal. If you're legal. SOT.
Yeah, SOTs. Yeah.
SOTs can have them.
Really?
Glock 18, which was the second Glock ever made.
Well,
any semi-automatic is just a broken automatic. Okay, that's the whole purpose.
Wait.
I have stolen that quote from you.
The best.
Do not put that.
Is when they brought up the Glock 26, which is made specifically for the German police in Germany. Like, well, they got those. Why don't they have those here?
Doesn't have a completely different barrel?
I'm like, you just said it's made for the German police
in Germany,
exclusively for Germany. That's why they're not here.
Todd, that makes sense. Stop it. Just stop.
I kind of want a Glock 46 now, to be honest.
They're like, well, see, Glock can do it because they made this one gun for this one country, for this one department.
Well, they also have them down in, I think it's Puerto Rico.
They make
it's a Glock.
They make a Glock that's called a Mariner. I think it's a Glock 19 Mariner that is able to shoot underwater.
That's continuously.
Yep. So Glock Store, not plugging them by any means. If you just go to their website, we're a dealer with Glock Store. If you go to their website and you go under like exclusive Glocks, you can go look at all the Glocks like wherever made for other countries too.
Well, because
and it's pretty interesting.
They can't have 9s or 45s. I think it's Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And it probably has a marine coating on it.
Yeah.
Anything like when you see it, it's like, oh, this is for the Navy. It's got a marine coating to combat corrosion. So.
Really? Is that what that's?
Mark 25s. The biggest difference between a Mark 25 and a 226 is the marine coating.
Yep.
That's in a white anchor. But that's what makes it so super extra, secret scroll deadly.
Careful. They'll be prohibiting future sales of those if you keep that up.
The way that the bill is worded, convertible pistol, that means that anything can come under scrutiny at any time.
Absolutely.
That's why they kept it.
That's why it's worded. Yeah, exactly.
I have a question for you off the recorded camera about convertible pistols afterwards. That was something I thought of, and it's not going to bring up recordedly.
Would not like it.
I don't want them to think of things.
Well, you don't want to give anybody.
Yeah, I don't want to give them more fuel.
I'm just curious. This passes. What about people that move to Connecticut?
Yeah, with a Glock.
With a Glock.
Well, it's only a prohibition of future sales.
And they admitted that it is in common use.
They did.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that law violates Bruin.
Gun's been around since 1982.
So here's the deal. It's going to be what organization or organizations are going to start a lawsuit on this. Because, the thing is, you got to get somebody with some backing or one of the bigger federal gun rights groups to back you.
GOA.
GOA, yeah, because it's too expensive. Like even say if we all sat around and said, you know what, screw it, we're going to do this. We're going to be the plaintiffs in this. We're going to make this happen. And we're going to put out our donation buckets, which we could raise an awful lot. I've seen it happen, but there's still, you need more. You need bigger name and you need backing.
You know why? Like when you watch all these other gun tubers, which like Josh's favorite, the Armed Scholar. I know you love him. They always talk about Cook County. And all these, they never talk about us here. You know why? Because we're this big and nobody gives a shit because it's a lost cause. I asked Jared, who left Mass for Tennessee. I asked us, why do you never cover the Northeast anymore? Dealing with like Rhode Island, Connecticut.
We can't win.
It's a lost cause, man. Nobody cares.
Well, that is why
nobody does.
That is why NSSF, who is located in Connecticut, it is supposed to be there for the FFLs and the industry people. They will not help with any lawsuits within Connecticut.
They run SHOT Show. SHOT Show is theirs.
Right. Millions.
NSSF did testify against this bill.
No. They will always testify. They will always help in that manner. They will never help a lawsuit, like start a lawsuit, which they could fund with help. Like say, instead of getting NRA or GOA, you could get NSSF to come in as your big backer. They refuse
because they're in Connecticut.
And I'm like, you're Connecticut. You're asking the FFLs to pay you a monetary amount so that you're covered. You would come in and you get all these perks, which is an astronomical number for the perks you get. Why don't you help with the industry, like even with the liability bill? And the answer is real simple. We won't do any lawsuits because Connecticut's a lost cause.
Well, we're an hour and 40 minutes now, guys. So we wanted to talk about more, but I think I'm going to throw in the towel here.
Well, that means we just do it again.
That means we do it again. Yeah. Hopefully with less Apple issues.
Less tech.
Less tech.
Less tech issues.
I think I need to go buy another laptop. So hopefully this video comes out pretty quick.
Right there.
Not that one.
No. I'm saying you buy a new laptop and we can use it in the classroom.
Okay, Diesel.
Oh, he's got ideas.
Diesel pushes that every week.
Oh.
I'm the one that threatens to shoot that computer.
I'm going to shoot it with you. At a range, in a safe location. with the battery out of it.
With the proper safety gear.
You're no fun.
So we'll plan to do some more, guys. Comment below wherever you're seeing this. Ask us questions. I believe we all try to respond to comments.
Yeah.
And this will be cross-posted, I think, to all of our YouTube channels. And hopefully you guys are seeing this on a Friday or Saturday when this gets uploaded. So my name is Josh from Lock and Load Firearms and Lock and Load Podcast.
I'm Michelle from Patriotware Holsters and Lock and Load Podcast.
I'm Derek from the Connecticut Gun Bench.
I'm Todd.
Oh, because he already gave away who he was before.
Gun Guru.
And we'll see you guys next time. Maybe.
Bye.